Hi everyone, Eugene here at Panasonic, and in this quick video I'm going to show you how you can take high resolution pictures on the LUMIX S1 Mark II and S1R Mark II. You can also use this feature on the E series and also previous LUMIX models. Make sure to consult the operating instructions for more details on compatibility though. So the first thing that you need to keep in mind on the S1 Mark II is that we now have a dedicated drive mode dial that also has the high resolution mode directly on the camera. On previous models we had to go into the menu to select and enable this mode. On this camera we have to first set it up from the mode dial and then go into the menu to tweak the settings to our liking. So just to show you really briefly what I'm talking about, you can see here we have the drive mode dial, and we have the single shot, we have burst 1 and 2, and then we get to that little icon there with the dots. That's the high resolution mode. So that means the camera is already in high resolution mode. Of course, keep in mind you can also just change your regular modes like you do on any other photo. But then, once we have that set on the camera, we're going to go into the menu where we can tweak the settings to our liking. So I'm going to go into the menu, into the photo settings, then go to image quality 2. And you can see here the first option is called high resolution mode setting. We select that, and then we have a few different options here. I'll briefly mention what they do, but to find out more you can always go into the operating instructions where you have a lot more detail. And please note, this is S1 Mark II, so the settings that you're seeing on your camera, if you're using a different model, might be slightly different depending on the sensor and the resolution that that camera has. So let's go in here. So we have a handheld high resolution on. Of course, we can select between on and off. This allows us to take high resolution by using a handheld situation. So we don't use a tripod like you normally do. And that uses the stabilization system to support with that process. We then have the picture quality. We can select here combined, fine, raw and fine. So fine basically just means JPEG. And then we have raw only. We can then select our picture size, and here we can select between extra large, 96 megapixels on this camera, full frame, and then a large for 48 megapixels. Simultaneously record normal shot. So this simply means that besides the high resolution image, the camera is going to save a normal resolution. So for example, if your camera sensor is 24 megapixels, you're going to have that plus the high resolution composite image. You then have the shutter delay, which is always a good idea. Of course, you may not want to use this if it's the handheld mode, but if you're using a tripod or you're setting the camera on a stable surface, it's a good idea to use this shutter delay because then you can press the shutter, wait for a couple of seconds, and you can actually customize this between, let's see, you have quite a lot of options, so up to 30 seconds, and then the image will be taken. So that prevents any sort of motion created by you touching the camera. And the last option here, which currently is grayed out, is motion blur processing, and we usually have mode 1 and 2. Again, depending on the settings that you have on the camera, some of the options are going to be grayed out. Please consult the manual for more details on that. Hopefully this helps. If you're interested in acquiring the S1 Mark II on the S1R Mark II, please head over to our description where you can find the links to our online stores. Hopefully you found this video helpful, and we'll see you in the next one.